guy's going to get plenty of goals, and I, for one, do not have much negative to say about Dominic Solanke at all to Spurs fans. If he did go, a lot of the time you see a lot of negativity when a player leaves. This guy is, Bournemouth are going to wish this guy so much luck because he's a fantastic player, and truly, club record season goal scorer in the Premier League with 19. He's a fantastic player.
Chris Cowlin. Fan cams. Club news. Transfer news. Match previews. Legend interviews. Spurs winning. Press conferences. Covering everything Tottenham and England.
Right then, my name is Josh White, and I've been asked to talk to you a little bit about Dominic Solanke from a Bournemouth point of view. Now, I'm sure there's many Spurs fans watching this who maybe aren't as excited about Dom due to his small name, if such. Maybe you want an Ivan Toney or a Jonathan David type player, but I can assure you that myself, the Bournemouth fan base, we are absolutely gutted about this. There's serious worries about Dom not being replaced. There's talk of Bournemouth getting top 10 finish, getting a European position maybe next season, but Dom going, it really does change the complexion for Bournemouth. And while Bill Foley did say in a recent interview he expects Dominic Solanke to stay, if you'd asked me a week ago, my answer here would have been completely different. Now, I would have said, due to his release clause, it's quite high, I don't think any team would pay it. And a week ago, I would have said, I think Dominic Solanke will be in red and black last season. However, Tottenham, as I'll allude to in a minute, have always been the team that I've worried about because I think Dom fits them to a T. And the recent news with the links with Fabrizio, with all these high-class journalists talking about Solanke to Tottenham, I am now worried, and I do think Dom Solanke may move on this summer. Now, Solanke obviously scored 19 goals last season, and many will probably say he had a purple patch, he had a one-season wonder. But I'm here to say many will also remember Dom, obviously, for his first sort of stint in the Premier League for us, where maybe Dom wasn't as good. He didn't really score goals. He was sort of the shadow to Joshua King, to Callum Wilson. But watching Dom over the years, we've seen a constant upward trajectory from Dom. When Scott Parker came in his championship, I think that's the real start where you've seen Solanke really lead the line and score a lot of goals. But when Andoni Iraola's come in now, it's just a completely different Dom Solanke, and it's a really phenomenal version of Dom Solanke. And in my opinion, his work off the ball, his almost just skill these days that he has, he can score from with his left foot, with his right foot, with his head now, he can score from outside the box. I think Dominic Solanke does have it in him to have another big season. I think the way our team evolves around Solanke really is the focal point where we're going to rely on for goals. And I think if he did go to Spurs, he could score a lot of goals. I think maybe he'd score 15 goals for you next season, maybe 17, 18. I think Solanke is really a talented player who can score goals. And when it comes to how he'll fit Spurs' system, I think it's just a match made in heaven with Ange Postecoglou and what he wants to do at Tottenham. Now, if you're not familiar with Andoni Iraola and what he's done at Bournemouth, he heavily relies on a pressing system, which starts with Dominic Solanke. He's the lead presser. He's the man who leads it. He goes after the goalkeeper and the centre-backs. That then draws in the wingers to the full-backs. And I think that's really something that I think will work well with Ange Postecoglou. Obviously, you also play a pressing system which relies on athletic ability. Dom's got that. He can run. Dom runs for absolutely endless amounts of times, and he's such an unselfish runner. He'll dribble with the ball. He'll drop deep to get the ball, but he can also sit and hold up the ball fantastically as the 9. Dom also gets teammates involved. Heung-min Son, he could get involved. Maybe Brennan Johnson in behind with his pace. James Maddison, he could lay off and find him on the edge of the box to shoot. I just think Dom fits Tottenham pretty perfectly. And I do think he'd score a lot of goals at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium if he did go. Now, when it comes to Dom's strengths and weaknesses, I've almost touched on it there. Hold-up play, dribbling, teamwork, scoring goals, left foot, right foot, header, outside the box. He's got much stronger recently. His overall game is phenomenal now. And I think when you talk about a complete player, a complete striker, if you look in the Premier League, I don't think you'll find much more complete strikers than Dominic Solanke. He can truly do a bit of everything. And I think if you haven't watched Dom this season, if you haven't watched Bournemouth this season, and you are doubting this transfer, I think you really do need to watch maybe some highlights. I know it's the cliche that when you sign a player, you watch some highlights and they always look like Messi or Ronaldo, but truly Solanke's had a fantastic season and he's just an incredible player and person on and off the pitch. I think what's significant about this move is you won't see Dominic Solanke push for this move. You won't see him force it, and that's because he's a great person. He's a team player. He'll also be unselfish, but he can be selfish, and that's what's important as the number 9. Now, when it comes to his weaknesses, I'd say he drops deep at times because he wants the ball, and Dom likes to drop deep. He comes into sort of the centre mid area, maybe where the 10 should be in Justin Kluivert normally, and Dom wants to dribble the ball. He wants to take it out himself. And more often than not, you'll see Dom go on a run. He'll take on a couple of players and he'll probably beat him, or he'll spin the defender, the right back, and he'll go in behind. And that's what's amazing about Dom. He can do that, but it does take him away from goal. And maybe sometimes you're thinking, you know, Dom could be there, he could be in the box, he could be on the last man, and that's important. Now, also, I'd say he can be a little bit rash at times with chances. You know, 19 goals, you wouldn't think that at all. And Dom does even have, at times, a lack of service, and a lot of the time he makes these chances himself. But maybe at times a little bit more composure, but this guy's going to get plenty of goals. And I, for one, do not have much negative to say about Dominic Solanke at all to Spurs fans if he did go. You know, a lot of the time you see a lot of negativity when a player leaves. This guy is, you know, Bournemouth are going to wish this guy so much luck because he's a fantastic player and truly, you know, club record season goal scorer in the Premier League with 19. He's a fantastic player. And I'm just going to end with how much do I think Dominic Solanke is worth, because that is the big question for Tottenham. I'm sure Tottenham fans want to know, as he does have a release clause of 65 million, and going into the summer, I think if you asked Bournemouth fans how much they take for Dominic Solanke, you would have heard 80 million, 90 million, even 100 million from some people. But I would probably say my region for Dom would be in the current market about 70 to 75 million pound. And I know if many people will see Bournemouth, they'll see Solanke, they'll think about his last campaign in the Premier League before, obviously, he's come back up and scored these goals. But Liverpool do also have a 20% sell-on clause, and I think that is important in the deal because Bournemouth are going to want a decent fee, and a decent and a hefty chunk will go to Liverpool. So we need to make it so we can get our money's worth as well. But I'd say when it comes to what Tottenham are going to have to play, obviously with the release clause, it's £65 million. And I would honestly be very, very disappointed with what the owners have said, with the current regime, with keeping talents like Ilya Zabani, with having a manager like Andoni Iraola. I'd be really disappointed to see anything under the release clause being accepted. And I could not see AFC Bournemouth really entertaining an offer, at least it was £60 million. I've seen a lot of people talking about a £55 million fee. Personally, I could not see that happening. I could see maybe 60 or 55 and add-ons, but I would be very surprised to see AFC Bournemouth take anything underneath his release clause. Thank you for having me on. Hopefully Dom does not go to Tottenham, but if he does, you've got a fantastic player, and you can find all my stuff, Joshua J, on X and on YouTube. Thank you very much for having me on.